What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 36 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Imrik Immortal Empires campaign. Now, I know it's been a bit of a while, I do apologize for that, but when I have to put in a lot of work hours, unfortunately, I do have to essentially keep it to one campaign, and right now it's especially needed as the DLC and reworks are coming up, and, well, I'll be intending to take a pretty big vacation to cover those when they are out. But anyway, this isn't about that. This is about Imrik, and the fact that, no, of course, we will not be abandoning Imrik, whether he stays here or whether he goes to the archive channel that we have for sort of overflow. We will still complete this campaign, as it's been one of the most fun campaigns I've had, just in general on this channel. I absolutely love this campaign, and there's still quite a bit to do. So, a little bit of a reminder as to what's been going on, as it's been a few days. We are still embroiled in a war to restore order to the world, essentially. Elven order, of course, the only appropriate kind of order. We have arrived in Cathay with at least one of our little admiral forces, mostly to take Fuchao, but just to help out a little bit. Fortunately, though, Cathay is in pretty decent shape now, especially since probably the destruction of the undead and Nurgle likely helped them out, and then probably the same thing and goes for Grimgor, since those guys can't really threaten them anymore. Last episode, Teclis did fight, what was it, 5, I think, Dreadquakes in a single army belonging to Gorth the Cruel, and he is still, he's still ready or hankering for more fighting, so we'll be attacking the plain of Jarn, trying to take Jarnagrund shortly. The big threats are obviously the Skaven here and Clan Scryer, who are a powerful faction that we've only just declared war upon, as well as the Pirates of Sartosa. We have the Empire completely destroyed by and large by Chaos and by the Vampires. The Vampires will hopefully fall to us relatively shortly, but we still have this massive Chaos alliance, and I do mean alliance since most of these factions are working together to take on. That's what I'm talking about in terms of endgame. Of course, we've already achieved the long victory conditions, and we still have stuff to do, which is the way I like it. I actually prefer to actually get these rewards while in the midst of a campaign rather than essentially get the long victory and then end the campaign, because at least this way you can make use of said rewards and play with a stronger faction. Anyway, let's start with what we're going to do today. Now, I know also, since it's been a while, I'll do a longer episode for this one just to make up for some of the episodes that were missed. So, the first thing, the main thing, is we're going to take a quick look at diplomacy, because there's several things here that we want to do. First of all, I think we're going to go for the defensive alliance with the Ice Guard. I've been avoiding it because they don't like the Wood Elves, or they don't like each other, but I'm hopeful that they won't attack each other, at least while we're fighting Chaos. That's the dream, anyway, so we're going to do that.
It is our responsibility.
Like so, defensive alliance with you. Do we need them to declare war on anybody? I mean, it does kind of put them in danger, which I don't like. Would they be well, I'm not even sure that they'd be willing to declare war on anybody. How about Scryer? Not really. Huh. We could give them like 25k gold, which would allow them to build stuff. You know, it might actually be worth it. As soon as we no longer need money, it may be worth our time to sort of invest in a bunch of allies in order to allow them to, you know, do their thing. Especially since we don't want to hold more territory, or at least not much more territory. And then we currently hold 25,000 gold is a little bit steep, though. You know what, I think we'll hold off on that for now. We'll probably give them a little bit of cash later on. Just sort of not as part of the steal. But what we can do is essentially not take their current cash. I think that, yeah, okay, yeah. We'll just not take their current cash, we'll just give them the defensive alliance for free. Plus, this will give us vision out here, and ooh, I see Danny Boy's probably going to take out Igorov. We'll probably leave these guys with only Wort Bed. Just got to make sure that Epidemius doesn't destroy it. Nearly ready to go for a military alliance as well. Alrighty, anyway, Golden Order, you're kind of in the same position where I think we do want to go for the defensive alliance with you, assuming you don't want to go military, which you don't. Your money, however, I'm happy with taking, because you're not in danger of being destroyed. Alright, next up we got Astalia, and I do believe Astalia is actually liked by the Wood Elves, so that isn't a concern, so we could do the defensive alliance with them as well, and Durthu military alliance. I still think we can't risk it. He's too much of a liability. Yeah, we'll just go defensive alliance with Astalia. I don't think these guys are gonna attack him anyway. And we'll take their money. Why not? Alright, then the big thing that we wanted was this. Everus is ready for Confederation, and it's high time that Eltharion join the rest of the High Elves. So we're going to initiate diplomacy, and we're going to confederate Eltharion. Like so. Now, if I'm recalling correctly, Jaqueline, Jinquella, whatever. Jaqueline here was holding the Sword of Cain, and she does still have it. I mean, I assume next turn is going to give us the option to put it back, and frankly, keeping it on a mage is probably not all that useful anyway. But yeah, we'll deal with it. Province secured, province secured, province secured. Ooh, that's a lot of provinces. I like it. I like it a lot. Ooh, the Wood Elves I bet won't be too happy about this, however, because... Oh, did they fix that? Oh, I guess they did fix it. Oh, that's great. It used to be a thing when you confederated a faction that because they broke all their alliances, the AI would get absolutely upset about it, and then, well, obviously that would not be so great. But anyway, we're good now. We don't need the farrier here. We will keep the cattle ranch. We can actually build the farrier instead of the war hall here at Trelinia, although I don't think that we need the defenses here, really. I mean, Well, this sort of portion of the donut should be fortified, to be fair. But we might be better off fortifying it via other means, like, well, you know what, I'll just keep this there for now. We'll go for the rebuild Lost Splendor. Okay, there is going to be at least a little bit of admin with regards to this, but probably not a lot, I'd wager. Alisalia is fine. It has the archive, it has the port, which we can reduce by a teensy bit, but we have materials at sea, so it's probably not super relevant anyway. Anyway. We'll keep the Blessed Grove. We don't need the Thilmar Smith, although I did want a couple more Lothern Skycutters. You know what? Hold on to it for now. We'll see if we have room for it. After all, Torivras isn't a bad location to have these. You know what? Let's get rid of the Royal Garrison as well. We'll put the Gate Guard building here, as well as we'll put the Farrier here as well. It just feels like it's nice to have a sort of military place near to where we're still fighting, or at least as near as we can get. Anyway, Misnar we will obviously rebuild, and we'll go for the colonnade here. We'll go into rebuild Lost Splendor, and I'll collect the income at least for now. What do we have here? Elysia is fine, Shrine of Kurnus is fine, and Torkar is more or less fine. We'll go for rebuild Lost Splendor again, and keep the homestead because we need to keep that stuff up. Now, Eltharion. The growth, I mean. And oh no, what did the... Alright, so... AI has you with Militia Master and Bowmaster. Shield of Sapphire, Apotheosis Sword Player. You do have Stormwing, you have dedication to Ladriel, but that's your only dedication, so that makes sense. You don't have any of your unique line. So you have Break Upon the Walls, which gives armor plus 15 for shielded units and Unending Volley for missile units. So you like shielded missile units? So you want... No. No more Lothern Seaguard game, no more. I mean, technically we only have one army with them, but still. The Admirals, I'll use them. Alright, I gotta think about what we actually give them. Plus 5 for Spear Infantry, that's also Lothern Seaguard and Rangers, no thank you. Armor for all Mistwalkers, but it looks like the AI wasn't building them. Maybe it didn't have the ability, I'm not entirely sure. And of course, Grim Discipline, that replaces Martial Mastery and Martial Prowess, which is just a better trait, as well as Expert Charge Defense for the entire army. Alright, you know what, I was gonna say maybe we should delete him, but it's not horrible. It's not horrible. Here's what we can do. I guess not this turn, but here's what... Ooh, if Dastan Coldeye was in range, that would have been unfortunate. You... Oh, hello, you have a handmaiden with... a grower handmaiden. Alright, we can use you in the fight, and give you to Eltharion. Oh, and I was thinking that we just got additional capacity for handmaidens, but now we're 9 out of 8. Oh, man. You have a mage, and you have your original Lore Master Cavil, who has a lot of good stuff, but we will deal with that ourselves. And who has a Disciple of the Phoenix. Not bad. You have a Mage of Beasts with you, who we will take the items off as well, who is Incendiary. I think we'll redo the Mage here. Do either of you have mages or just... Oh, you have... Wait, how many handmaidens do we have here? You have another handmaiden. Wait, so you're a genius, and you are you're a grower. Alright, I guess we'll keep them. If you're gonna go for range units, we can keep them. And you know what? Maybe we can keep the eagles as well. Yeah. Maybe even transfer some of the eagles out of Meryl's army. Here's the thing, we won't be able to get Knights of Torgaval for Ultharion, so we won't be able to get the, well, any of the Mistwalker units, and until Bretonia has access to Hippogriff Knights, which could take the place of the Knights of Torgaval. Oh, they do have Pegasus Knights, though. Can we get Pegasus Knights? A moment. What do we have here? 33. Okay, so that's not bad. It's not bad. They're not Royal Pegasus Knights, but they will serve for now. So we'll start building those as soon as we have allegiance for Eltharion. And we got that High Elf District coming up. We just need the mission to be completed. All right, you have what again? Protected, which ain't horrible. And you have Entrepreneur. I didn't get it. Okay, wait. First of all, lose the Emerald Collar, the Potion of Healing, all of that stuff. Don't bother with the Crown of Authority. Stay in Misnar for now. We'll transfer this stuff to you. And then we probably don't need you. Lose the Herald of Mathon as well. And then we'll disband you. Could have reset you, but whatever. And then Eltharion, just wait. At least for now. We'll give him an army made up of the stuff that we have here, and then we'll build him a new army once these recruiters are done with the recruiting. Now, that felt like way too much admin for the start of this episode, so let's go with the battle. Teclis, you fought last time. You can certainly fight again. There's a full stack at the Veil of Woe and another full stack made up of the remnants of Gorth the Cruel and Sirah Mahotar's armies. And assuming that they don't have any more Dreadquakes, which we did destroy because they're unbreakable, we can actually get some action for the Swordsmasters, which I'm sure they'll appreciate. So, Imrik, or Teclis rather. Let's get your Roiling Skies. I was going to avoid it before, but now there's a significant amount of flying units available to the Chaos Dwarfs, and these aren't the only Chaos Dwarfs we're liable to be fighting, so it does make sense. Your Lore Masters need multiple things. Granted, the Lore Masters aren't really trying to fight, trying to spell as much, or at least not as much as Teclis, but Spirit Leech and, was it Vissen's Wild Form? I forget. They don't have all of the spells. I think it's Vissen's Wild Form, which is still really useful. You know how we can check? Disciple Oberman, back here, who has been traveling to try to get back into the army. Well, he has a little bit of everything, to be fair. Alright, fine.
If it means pray.
A moment. We also have the Eminent Swordmaster trait, but that's at rank 15, so it'll probably be a while until we get that. Anyway, I'm gonna say get 1 point in Harmonic Convergence, and ooh, we'd need to be able to overcast that. Get Earthblood. Alright, let's do that, and then the same thing with you. So, Shem's Burning Gaze, Spirit Leech maxed out, because that's the main thing we're liable to use, and then do this. A little bit of all the spells. Alright, what about the other mages? You have one Mage of Beasts, which is here for a number of reasons. I still haven't decided which one of these is sort of capstone skills that we want for him. Whether it's a reduction or an increase in power. This is one's a magic power reserve capacity, which is not full in this army. It's 122 out of 262, so we have a little bit of a while to go for that. Miscast base chance is probably fine, but let's go one with the Ether to bump up those Phoenix units even further, as well as the Ward of Hoeth. Once again, the mages here right now at least aren't really needed for casting so much as for buffing up the army further with various things, making those Phoenixes powerful as they can be. Ward to save at 40 and still rising. Alright, now you're gonna head into Noble Prestige, my friend, and you're gonna hit that Veil of Woe. And we're gonna hit Gorth of the Cruel yet again. Valiant defeat. We are damaged. They are somewhat damaged as well, and they have a full stack and, well, that full stack and another basically full stack, and we do not have a full army. But this is Teclis we're talking about. Go. Alright, here we go. We're back in action, and Imrik is gonna start us off. Looks like the enemy is going to attempt to hit us with a spell, but will fail to hit the phoenixes. I suppose fire damage would probably not be particularly effective against them. Anyway, speaking of fire damage, we're gonna get the phoenix to start dropping bombs upon the enemy. They're in a nice, neat little line for us, and a phoenix using up all of its ammunition will give it a total of 300 kills and 34,000 damage and before the battle really begins. Imrik will hit the enemy on Lamasu, try to knock those guys out so that they don't reduce our remove our magical damage, all the while also hitting the enemy line with a nice not arcane unforging, but a fiery convocation. Up to 52k damage. Imrik's, of course, continuing other forms of spells, dropping the chain lightning upon the enemy as well as the flock of doom, even while we contend with the bulls up above. Our main line is slowly moving towards where the phoenixes are fighting. Fortunately, we haven't actually landed as yet, and thus we are free to wait for the swords masters to move on in. There are a fair few of those flyers to knock out, after all. Our Arcane Phoenix, the Omen of Assyrian, that has now joined the army once again, uses its vortex ability, and it looks like another Baal Taurus or Great Taurus will fall to the ground as well. Unfortunately, for some bizarre reason, this Flamespire Phoenix decided to follow the corpse down. I have noticed that is a fact, or that is a thing, rather, that aerial units tend to do. Sometimes when they kill off other aerial units, I guess there's a few seconds while the enemy unit is alive, you know, it's performing its death animation, and generally the game tends to register units that are doing their death animation with 1 HP. You notice this a lot with the lords that are about to die. And so I think what happens is that the units will follow them down while they do that. Anyway, our swords masters have not quite made it to the enemy line, but that's alright, as the enemy has decided to come to us. A unit of hobgoblin raiders will smash in, or wolf raiders will smash into the back line of those swords masters, but that's not a great matchup, especially as the hobgoblins are without Gordas to buff them up to insanity. Though with Gordas, I'm sure that they can give our army, or could give our army of sword masters, a run for their money. Remembering my Zatan campaign, Gordas and his hobgoblins, well, they pretty much handled anything that came their way, so yeah. Bull Renders attacking us as well, but being brought down by the swords masters, though dishing out damage with their charge. They only got the 1 kill with 3,000 damage, and we can see the HP depleted from full on the unit that took the hit. Besides, there are more Bull Renders where that came from. They're a very strong unit, and we're going to have to deal with them as best we can. We're going to double up on Spirit Leeches from our Lore Masters, which are together with the Swords Masters here. And the Spirit Leeches will hopefully bring down the occasional unit of, or the occasional Bull Centaur. Our mages have joined the fray as well. We may not have given them a lot of spells, but they are on chariots, and against the piles of hobgoblins at least, they should still be reasonably effective, especially with the units of swords masters guarding them. Now, of course, we're fighting here with the swords masters by themselves, unsupported by the phoenixes, and we do this on purpose because I really wanted the swords masters to get some action. We can keep Imrik and his mage, or his phoenixes, fighting the enemy flyers and whatnot, while these swords masters deal with the rest. They were dealt a pretty bad hand when they had to deal with all of those Dreadquake mortars. But this, they can actually fight. And fight well by the looks of it. The bounce power shifts to about 70% in our favor, and though a few swords masters have dropped and they continue taking arrows from the enemy wolf raider archers, looks like they have managed to fight off the enemy on the right flank there, and pretty much only enemy corpses there, and are now moving to deal with the remnants of the enemy Bull Centaur Renders. Alright, keep on hacking them down. Our lore masters have joined in to support the other swords masters, and so have the mages. We're obviously not going to keep these mages on their chariots. They're going to get eagles once they've leveled up to get said eagles. But they're working reasonably well here. Besides, I guess you need mass on occasion, and the chariots do provide a little bit of mass to the line of swords masters if they should need it. Anyway, mounts power at about 80%, maybe even 85% in our favor now. The aerial units still brawling. If you're wondering why this is taking so long, it's because there's a massive amount of fire resistance on the enemy, and the phoenixes, with the exception of the frost phoenixes, all do fire damage, and that includes Teclis. Not the best matchup in the sense that when we fight Chaos Dwarfs, we have a lot of fire damage to rely on, and they're pretty solid against it. Not to worry though, that's another reason why our swords masters are here and why they're doing decent work. The bounce power at about, getting close to 90%, let's say, in our favor. Though, of course, the problem with leaving these swords masters unsupported by the phoenixes is the fact that they can't really deal with the wolf raider archers, and they're just too fast. But not to worry, they can hack down all the melee units, and as soon as those archers run out of ammunition, they'll have nothing to do but be forced into melee. And it's not like they do a crazy amount of damage anyway without various buffs. And as we can see, the enemy army will shatter. Looks like Teclis has taken care of the enemy lord, Gorth the Cruel. And it's just a matter of trying to hunt down whatever we can. Another helpful thing about the Frostheart Phoenixes is that because of their Frostbite, or do they have Chilling Aura as well? They have something else, Blizzard Aura. An inferior version of Chilling Aura. We need to get something with Chilling Aura and combine them with Frostheart Phoenixes. And the Frost... Well, in our Frost Dragon army, we'll already have that. But anyway, the good thing about them is that they slow the enemy down and allow us to catch those flyers before they can escape. And I'd wager most of at least the important units of the reinforcing army will be destroyed. Alright, very nice indeed. Teclis, of course, cleaning house with 1,300 kills and 2.2 or 220,000-ish damage dealt. Of course, they're not Phaedian numbers, but, well, it's hard to reach Phaedian numbers, or Michaela numbers, even for Teclis. So yeah. We've also got tons of damage on the two Fire Phoenixes, but they were able to essentially drop their bombs on lines of enemies, and that does explain why they got so much more damage. Also, looks like we got good work on the various swords masters. They are as yet unbuffed, mind you, so they will get much stronger than they are, but they're already looking pretty okay. Alright, we'll we'll occupy rather the place, and we may as well take the province, since Jarnagrun does offer a decent, let's say, a landmark. It's going to be difficult to reach tier 5, unfortunately, but what can you do? Anyway, Terrifying Mask of E, enemy killed in battle, and Teclis, stick around, buddy. Stick around. Now, let's start from the top, shall we? Imrik, it's time for you once more to shine, though I don't think you've ever not shined. Yeah, some little rat armies, I guess it doesn't... They're probably all going to move away because this is at the edge of our movement range. This guy's in march stance, so we don't have to chase him. Ooh, wait. Alright, let's hit Hall Scurry first. What we might like to do is if he goes this way, we might be able to kill both of them. And, okay, yes, good. What about you? Can we hit Garth and do the same thing?
We will prevail.
Which way? Yes, okay, good. Go that way. And now, do we have the range to hit Absit?
Bring them down.
Yes, we do. Swell. Okay, this is obviously a bunch of garbage Skaven slaves and clan rats, so we don't need to deal with that with them. So he'll auto-resolve them and take the... I guess the healing. Cult of Sigmar mission successful as well. Lovely. Standard of Discipline and enemy killed in battle. Yada. You can go into Lilith's Blessing, I guess, and then start moving this way. Still gotta knock out the Wizard Caliph's Palace, although, it does look like all of our lizard friends are very much on the way, which is great, because, once again, we don't actually want to hold any of this territory. Also, just gotta make sure that the lizards don't start killing stuff that should, as in, don't start attacking our allies.
Archmage.
But I guess we'll see. Fayadin, you have a ways to go. You are going to, I guess, march stance all the way up here and go down to the Vale of Titans. And, ooh, hello. Whoa, 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 whoa. We got a full stack here. Well, isn't that lovely? Alright, don't march stance then. I don't think it'll make a huge difference, mind you, because obviously we're, well, this is Fayadin we're talking about, but nonetheless. You can go into Lilith's Blessing and try to max out your mana as well. Arathond, the legend among legends. You, my friend, are going to hit Kurun and retake it for our Bretonnian friends. And I guess we'll send somebody else southward, because we want Arathond to move up north and destroy Be'lakor, because he's being annoying. Unresolve this. Ooh, should have paid attention to that. Guahir's beaks down to 2. And occupy the place. And we'll obviously just straight up trade it to our Bretonnian friends. Rebuild Lost Splendor, we can probably get a little bit more value out of... You know what, build the clay pit. Get them some trade going. Rather than just giving them military structures, because they do have military structures of their own, let's face it. Arwinal. You were chasing down this guy, King Sinsena, whose stack is frankly kind of meh, but at the same time, I haven't seen this army fight in a while. Can you reach him? 5%. He's going to move, and it'll probably just put him right just out of range, won't it? Maybe even fairly far out of range. 5% is... actually not... Ooh, wait, can we reach him? No, oh, it is just out of range. Game. Alright, go into Zandri, and we'll see where he goes afterwards. And obviously we'll be trading all this, so we're not gonna look to keep it. Kilana here. I should probably do it in order. Supposed to transfer some stuff to Arwinal, though I've honestly kind of... I don't know. I know I get some gunpowder units, but it kind of bothers me. I still feel like elves really shouldn't be using gunpowder. I'll think about it. We might pretend that they're not guns, but it still does bother me. Anyway, we'll do it in order, so yeah. No, Harathoy, you're up next. And I would like you to move all the way to the edge of this territory. And I guess start moving to Shard Bastion. Go this way. You should still be able to heal up to full. We have the Palace of Ruin building up for next turn, wherein we will trade Kawark with our Tomb King friends. I really wish that you could trade territory for allegiance, though. That'd be just fantastic. I'd really much rather have allegiance than money or more territory right now just to get access to units. There really just generally this game needs more ways to acquire allegiance. But anyway, Architect Luaran, technically you're just waiting here until the Fortress of Warag is upgraded to tier 5 as we need more dragon capacities and various other things. Itilnai, there is Vladdy down here. I guess the question is, do we ignore him? I was going to send her this way in order to grab Marienburg before somebody else does. I mean, I suppose we could briefly stop on by and have Arathon grab it before going after Be'lakor. Which would mean we have you chase down Vladdy. Where would Vladdy proceed from here, I wonder?
We stand ready for action.
Well, it's going to cost us money, but I have an idea. Let's see if we can make this work. Wait. Itilnai, you're going to go into ambush stance. Then what we're going to do is this. Alariel, we're going to join war against Morgar. Like this. And we're going to request Grunberg. Okay, then... Ugh. 29k. It's a lot, but you know what? Do it. It bothers me, but do it. Yes, I will. And the reason we wanted to do that was so that we could try to bait Vlad into attacking this rather than attacking the Imperials. We'll obviously give them Altdorf and Ubersreich and whatnot. I'm just going to assume that he can't reach Ubersreich from here, and that he'll actually try to kill off Grunberg, because currently it has nothing in it. Hopefully we don't get that plague on us. On the other hand, it's not like Itilnai is going to be too vastly... So gotta make an army for Gwyndi in here. Too vastly inconvenienced by it, but anyway, or heavily inconvenienced. Rather, Admiral Larishian, going to march stance. You are heading to Nagrar next.
Navigating.
In order to take it, and then, well, once we've shored up the borders here and given it to our allies, then we could just keep Bel Harithoa and the borders. Obviously, we're, once again, just only using the admirals for sea fights and stuff, but, you know, the occasional port pickup could be useful. Rodar. I guess you're sticking around where you are. You're supposed to follow Imrik around. I mean, I guess nobody can reach you here anyway. Yeah, just go here. I'm just gonna hope that this guy can't reach you, but I suppose if you die, you die, and we can't care all that much anyway. Yeah, alright. I just had to double check that he doesn't have anything useful, which he, to be fair, does not. Morella. Yes, Malus Darkblade. He's been a bit of an annoyance, as I'm sure his father could attest. And it's finally time to knock him out. He does have a decent stack, and considering we have a rather basic stack to our name, I guess we are going to have to fight this. Malus is going to be the toughie here, as well as the fact that he has artillery, and we don't really, and the fact that he has those Doomfire Warlocks and Harpies. Nonetheless, should be a pretty fun fight. Go. Alrighty, here we go. Morella been defending these territories by herself, relatively unsupported by friendly forces for a long time, and now she has to deal with Malus Darkblade, who has a decent stack, considering our stack is relatively basic. Fortunately, though, Morella has a lot going for her. She has a bunch of items and bound abilities. The Breath of the Chain Lightning and Gehenna's Golden Hounds. I believe she also has an Assault of Stone available to her, as well as a Fiery Convocation, which will, let's see, takes so long to cast, 5 seconds to cast and then another like 3 seconds to wind up. It does go through at least some of the enemy units though. Very, very nice. Alright, and we're seeking to both annoy the enemy army here as well as do as much damage to the Reaper bolt throwers as we can, as obviously our main army does not have artillery. Morella is up to 155 kills and 36k damage, but I believe she's out of mainline spells. She does have the occasional Soul Quench available to her, but it's not going to be anything crazy here. Knock out the occasional couple of units, and then back away. Alright, and she's down to about a quarter, or by a quarter of her HP, but she does have Apotheosis, should she need it. Fortunately, it looks like she has annoyed the enemy sufficiently that they start moving towards her. Harpies are given chase, but we should be able to knock most of them out of the sky with arrow fire. The Doomfire Warlocks have charged on in and cast their Doom Bolts upon 2 units of Spearmen. Doom Bolts being a homing missile spell, or well, homing bombardment rather, I guess, means we cannot dodge it, so both of the units do get hit, and we'll try to Apotheosis them up before they take too much damage. We're gonna have to protect our flanks as well, as the Harpies will join Dark Riders and Doomfire Warlocks alike, and we will try to defend with Spearmen and with our Dwarf Auxiliaries, which should be reasonably helpful here. We have a nice mix of sort of range and melee units, so we shouldn't be taken out super easily in terms of the enemy reaching our range line, because they have to go through first the spears, then the Lothern Sea Guard, and then the dwarf units that can fight in melee as well as range. The enemy army is in, but Morella is now taking care of those undefended Reaper bolt throwers, which are quickly being destroyed by her and her blood-causing or bleed-causing eagle. And of course, Malus is in the fight as well, and he does not care, being one of the strongest sort of fighty lords in the game. Very difficult to bring down. And we did try to move in our noble to fight him, but our noble quickly lost a ton of HP, and is going to back off until he gets a nice couple of heals from Morella's Apotheosis. Spear, Dread Spear versus High Elf Spearman. A sight seen many a time, and to be seen many a time again. But whose spears are stauncher? And there's that assault of stone we've been waiting for, smashing into a unit of enemy Black Ark Corsairs, doing a decent bit of damage. It does look like that damage, however, is sufficient to force the enemy or allow the enemy their murderous prowess. Definitely don't want the enemy shades to take advantage of the murderous prowess, so we switched a lot of our range units to focusing them down in particular. And fortunately, the shades, being relatively light on armor, will drop rather quickly. Much more quickly, I would say, than a unit of Dark Shards with shields. Our range units are still able to fire, so that means our melee units and hybrid units are doing their work. Malus is of course in the fight, and once again our noble goes in and once again loses a ton of HP, but that's alright. It's certainly as expected. Besides, while Malus and Spite continue fighting, the same can't be said for most of their army. Looks like most of the enemy cavalry has failed to breach our flanks, and now the enemy army is relying primarily on its melee units, Black Ark Corsairs, Oblique Swords, Dread Spears, to try to break through. Now that said, I don't think those basic units are going to be enough to break through our basic units with the amount of range and spell support that we have. Morella comes back in, casts a few more spells, especially against runners, so that they continue to rout and ideally shatter rather than rally, and it looks like that is enough. Though Malus will of course survive, the rest of his army will shatter, and thus so will Malus as well. This also, I believe, means that Malus did not transform, because he becomes unbreakable when in Sarkhan form, and it's probably a good thing for us that he didn't. But frankly, this was kind of his last stand anyway, so he probably should have. Alright, a close victory and a pretty darn solid fight. Of course, Malus proved to be a distinctly difficult fighter to deal with. Our noble went in, hit him a couple times, or once apparently, judging by his damage dealt, over and over again, getting heals from Morella's apotheosis, but every time Malus would just whack him a couple times and bring him down to like a third of his HP. That said, the rest of his army, Malus's army that is, was not so indomitable, and were destroyed, forcing Malus off field. Lovely. We're gonna occupy the place and defeated Malus Darkblade on Morella. Great trait. She is not going to get too much use out of it. I mean, I suppose if we put her on a dragon, which we can as she levels up again, well, then maybe a little bit more so. Alrighty, and that's fine. She's going to continue defending Karan to Kar and such, but we don't need the Shrine of Ladriel unless... I was wondering whether there's some stuff from the Sisters of Twilight that we might want to trade. Right now, there is definitely not, but build a building here, stay here for a turn, and who knows, maybe next turn there will be. And we will, of course, give them the Shrine of Ladriel, so that they can continue maintaining this full province. Originally, these two provinces from that we gave to our allies were supposed to be buffers, but while Malus did go around our even bigger buffer here, so in that light, we'll need an even bigger buffer than that, in the form of a fortified Conquata. That's the dream, anyway. And once again, I was thinking maybe we do the same thing with Kurun. I mean, it is kind of close to us, and it does have a clay pit here. Maybe fortifying it wouldn't be such a bad idea. It's not like these guys would ever bring it up to sort of full defensive capabilities. I don't know, I'll think about it, but they do get a special building there, and, well, generally get special buildings. Anyway, Lurithiriel, you working on your light and death army, still waiting for that death dragon, who, wait, is still with Imrik, right?
Imrik.
Yes, okay, so we'll bring you the death dragon with probably one of these armies once we're out of here and have decided to go elsewhere. But for now, you can continue fighting and getting a little bit of that XP, training, etc. on your Shadow Warriors. Head to Schwarzhofen in case Kazrak or Syndra's Grease attempts to attack it, which means that Alistair, assuming that he needs to move next, assuming incorrectly, or Tyrion will move next. Alright, fine. Tyrion, go into Noble Prestige and hit Massif Orcal. Do we want Massif Orcal for ourselves? I mean, maybe. It's a tier 3, or at least we take it a tier 3.
Champion of the Ever Queen.
Well, either way, hit it. Let's see what we got here in terms of defenses. Low casualties, yeah, okay. I mean, there's some decent units here, but low casualties to me, so it's probably not worth fighting. So, set this stuff up, besiege it. I doubt they'll sally out. We'll give them a chance, but, oh. It's a capital, so it'll probably have improved walls and stuff. Actually, it doesn't say it here. Which wouldn't allow us to do a cinematic, but it might just not be saying it. Either way, I'll think about that one. Larian, who are you again? Alright, this is just one of those little sort of garbage armies. It is an army that is sort of following the footsteps of Belherathoi, because we do have the Moranian's Way shard on him. And I mean, you can stay here. I don't know whether Pakaldaka can reach us here. I mean, we could just move out there just in case. Huh. We still have the these units as borrowed from Ivres, even though Ivres is our faction now. Kind of interesting that they don't get converted despite being the same faction. I think they should get converted, but anyway. Go here, I guess? Maybe? You know, just stay there. I don't wanna... Who knows? Who knows if they can reach us? Why risk it, right? Alistair, you're up, my friend. Now you... I mean, you do need to take Castle Drakenhof. Now, Drakenhof... Yeah, see, this does have it. Greatly increased health of settlement walls, etc., 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 which means no cinematic battle. And this army is really fun to watch in a cinematic. Like, yeah, we could slowly break through the gate and then send the lines in. But I think I'd rather save it for a field battle. It's not like it's not like we have a small amount of potential fights up in all of this. So I think we can, assuming that the lines or the chariots don't die by auto-resolve, which we'll check in a sec. We can probably attack it. What else do we got here? Anybody in a high enough rank? Not really. They're getting there, though. Silver Torrent and the Movable Force. For the White Lions and the War Lions and the White Lion Chariots here? Yes, they are. Or Lion Chariots, whatever. And the Stand Your Ground. Lovely. Lovely indeed. Oh, huh. I didn't realize that his main line was slightly unique. Lion Guardian and stuff. Actually, he really used that Strider so that he can keep up with the rest of his guys. Anyway, Noble, you have a new trainer, and frankly, I mean, it's not much, but do it. The rest of this is probably not super useful. It's not for you, and at least not for now. So let's go for Blade Shield until we can get into Colossal Strike. And then Elena, you will want Transformation of Kadan, and potentially the Curse of Anra here. We are missing this, and our magics are full, so we probably could use Lilith's Blessing, and this gives us +5. This gives us plus nothing. Well, actually, this gives us +5 as well. Alright, fine. Get magical reserves. Let's start racking up that magic. Then he'll hit Drakenhof. We'll see. If we can auto-resolve it, we'll auto-resolve it. If we can't, we'll fight it. Pyrrhic victory, but we can't auto-resolve it. Decent units, but without a stack there. It's just unbuffed garrison units, and they don't really have a chance, so we're just gonna auto-resolve it. It's fine. It's fine. Animal occupied. I don't think that we'll be keeping Castle Drakenhof, but we'll see. Who knows? Anyway, we'll get the White Lion building here. Delete, 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 and uncollect income for now. We might keep Drakenhof just sort of a down here place, but not keep the rest of Sylvania. Because we're liable to keep Zufbar and Karadromar. Or we might just trade it all. I don't know. I'll think about it. Still not sure, but anyway, that was Mr. Alistair. I always see nice new territories and think we gotta have this territory for ourselves, but we already have so much territory. We're making 106,000 gold per turn. We don't need more territory. It'll just add more admin, so that's why I'm still liable to trade most of it away. This is garbage. We are not fighting that. And we'll occupy it, and this one we did want, Galbaraz, namely, the Oath Gold mine here, 1,000 gold per turn in hero capacity for nobles, which is quite nice as well. Going to rebuild Lost Splendor, and let's, well, rebuild Lost Splendor. Clan Squire revealed, good. And then, of course, Admiral Yabathul is no longer needed here. She's not supposed to be not at sea, and she's probably not happy. Neither are her Lothar and Sigurd to not be not at sea, so she'll head back out here. Maybe quickly grab Myrmidons or something before heading out to sea and looking for more islands. Can't have too many islands. Was there not somebody else down here somewhere that we wanted to move? Oh, right, it was Kalana, but we don't really need to move Kalana right now. We have a troop ferry somewhere with dragons and dragon princes. Yeah, that's you. Yeah, this troop ferry is pretty critical. But for now, we can ignore Kalana. We can ignore Architect Elena. You don't need to move Morel. You know what? Go to Castle Artois via Langui. Go here. Since we have these armies here, we don't really need to do anything with them. I guess we could potentially trade you to Eltharion as well. Also, do we have any additional gate guard capacity? Because if we do, I feel like we should build a few more. We have some here. I'm still trying to figure out what we put in Eltharion's army. They're not shielded, but they would gain his range buff, whatever it is. It was just ammunition now, so it's not anything crazy. It's not like we run out of ammunition all that much. Oh yeah, but he does get the spear. It's basically spear infantry and rangers. That's it. So Silverin Guard, because, well, they have the symbol of Ivres on their shields. Which are, and Gate Guard? Silverin Guard and Gate Guard? It's a very defensive sort of army, but you know what? That feels appropriate for Eltharion. Oh, I know what we could do. Since it'll be a while until we get Pegasus Knights, can't we... We could get him some Mournfangs. I guess the question is, do we want to get him Mournfangs? Is there anything else interesting? Ghost of Powashin, Last Defenders... we could borrow some Riperdactyls, but frankly, I don't like the unit. And no dinosaurs available. That's a little bit unfortunate. Pterodon Riders with Fire Leech Rollers are quite strong, but frankly, they'd work better with the Fire Army, being all fiery and such. Cult of Sotek, the thing is not finished. We have more Coatl out of you. Maybe some Coatl, just because we can. I don't know. I'll think about it. Nonetheless, I still do want you to build a couple more Gate Guard. Go for it. And I guess we'll need more Gate Guard capacity, but we'll work on them somewhere that we aren't concerned about building money. Not that we're super concerned about building money anymore, anyway. Alariel, now you did declare war on Morgar, and it's time for you to wipe him out. And it is, I feel, lawfully very appropriate for Alariel to wipe Morgar out. The Wood Elves would certainly be appreciative of it. I guess we'll get Chaos Bane just for this particular fight. And let's level up the Handmaidens as well. The Handmaids 3. You will want replenished troops. Oh, we were probably saving points on you in order to get Hawkish Precision, Sacred Service, and whatnot. And they need rank 12 for it. You do already have it, though. So I guess we could level you up. Get Hawkish Precision specifically for this fight. It's only a few units, but yeah. Alright, we'll start with Hawkish Precision with you, because we definitely want it. And it does include Sisters of Avalorn. Like so. And I guess max out replenished troops for the fight. Alright, and the rest of you can hold on to your points. You are going to go into Noble Prestige, which will allow us to hit Montanas. Which means hit Montanas we shall. Ah, frickin' plague. Going crazy on the screen. Pyrrhic victory, medium casualties, plenty of Bestigors, Chaos Spawn, etc., etc., plus Morgar himself. Seems appropriate. Go. Alrighty, for order indeed. Elven order, that is. Here we go. We just fought Mr. Morgar in the Orion campaign, and I guess it's appropriate to come back at the time to fight him in this campaign as well. We'll see how different the battles go there. We're going to start the day off with popping the heal on Brewer. Probably shouldn't have moved away from that. That was a mistake, but all good. All good. We'll heal him up with some Earthbloods instead. as he does start the battle off with about a half of his HP, or had half of his HP, though we should be able to get him to full in rather short order. And here we go, the first of the Dragon Breaths. Brewer has access to 4 of these, and let's see how the first one does. It's going to slightly clip a unit of Centaurs, or Centaurs rather, as well as a unit of Bestigors, and take about 30% of the HP from the, well, from about both of them, which ain't too bad. That has, however, allowed some Ungors, or actually these are Gors, to make their way in, but not to worry, Alariel and Brewer together will land. The arrows of the Sisters of Avalorn and Handmaidens will fall from above, while the 2 bigger units will essentially anchor the line against the Beastmen here. Of course, any overflow, any units that get around the flanks of a Brewer or manage to avoid Alariel will smash into the line of our Treekin, and there's just no way they're going to break through them without a lot bigger an investment than a bunch of Gors. Keep saying Ungors. Alright, back here we got more units attempting to make their way forward, trying to knock down that barricade blocker at the same time, and it does look like the Bestigors tried to run for the woods to maybe flank us. Unfortunately for them, they will find no succor in the trees, as the trees are alive and are very much angry. And by the looks of it, the enemy will find no succor behind the barricade either, as the Sisters of Avalorn will bring it down and continue riddling said unit of Bestigors with arrows, and bringing them down to a solid 20% HP. That said, there's plenty more Bestigors where that came from. There's at least 5 of them in this particular army, and another of them will charge Brewer and Alariel. However, with the 2 of them fighting together side by side, we should be just fine. Alariel will keep them both healed up, and of course Brewer has his own healing capabilities as well, if I'm recalling correctly. Yeah, Protectors of the Wood. No, Protectors of the Wood is reserves for second. Oh, more mana for healing for Alariel. That might actually be even better. And, oh, he has the Noxious Cloud, which is a little mini Mortis Engine effect, which is also great. And especially considering the Treekin aren't generally liable to do a crazy amount of damage. Anyway, Brewer using his mass to move through the line while Alariel continues to fight in the center. Looks like some Bestigors attempt to give chase to Brewer, but will get knocked out by the Sisters of Avalorn and the Gate Guard. Alright, and the reason we wanted to lift off was to get our 2nd or 3rd breath down right into the middle of that big old formation. Brewer racking up those kills up to 218, and right after that he will come down and charge the enemy in the back. And he's a big boy. He's definitely a big boy, bigger than a standard forest dragon. I'd love to get him a couple of extra forest dragons in this army if we can manage to get them from our wood elf allies. The main issue there is that they're not teched very high yet. Or else I'd, well, there's a bunch of wood elf units I'd love to pop into our armies, but anyway. It's all good. At least we've got the Hawk Riders from the Heralds of Twilight, Sisters of Twilight, Heralds of Ariel, whatever. Alrighty, Brewer now surrounded by Bestigors and Chaos Spawn, a very solid combination of units, but of course, once again with Alariel there to heal him should he take damage, I think he'll be okay. Also, since the enemy's main charges have been sent packing, it's time to send the Dryads and the Treekin forward at least a little bit, and send at least some of them into the fight. A little bit of monstrous infantry versus monstrous infantry action, as the trees join the fray. Alright, and how we doing? Bounce power-wise, we're at about 65% in our favor, closing in on 70% by the looks of it. Soon it'll be time to try to block off this former barricade location, but we also got to keep firing with our range units for a little while until they run out of ammunition. No real need to advance too much, as the enemy will continue moving forward and breaking themselves upon the anchor of Brewer, as well as Alariel and the Treekin. And of course, when we run out of ammunition, we can move forward as needed. Also, similar to the battle against against Morgar in the Orion campaign, it does look like he doesn't want to join the fray, rather sending his minions against us while he hangs out at the enemy spawn location. Does seem to be a thing that the AI does for the Beastmen for the Herdstone battles, and just keeping their lord sort of there. Will change great for Morgar in particular. I mean, with the other Beastmen lords, them waiting, well, okay, maybe not Torox as well. But Malagor staying back and maybe casting spells, that's probably fine. Kazrak staying back and waiting until the enemy's been softened up a little bit could be decent as well. Morgar, however, has a Mortis Engine effect and wants to be in the middle of the fray. Might be able to give us a little bit of a taste of our own medicine since we've got our own Mortis Engine effect going. Anyway, they continue to fight, and I do like Alariel's color scheme on the Dryads as well. Too bad we couldn't get some of these color scheme Dryads in the Orion campaign just to get more different Dryad color schemes going all at the same time. Alright, and we got Shriekin and Dryads working together, facing off against Gors, Ungors, and Chaos Spawn. Of course, another Dragon Breath comes down from Brewer, who will get right back into the fray, smashing the enemy between him and between the line of Shriekin. Poor Chariot's trapped in here, probably not going to be able to achieve much. And of course, Alariel continues to spam Earthblood and Life Bloom passive and keep everybody nice and healthy. Bounce power's at about 80% in our favor. Chaos Spawn are starting to dwindle in numbers. Unbreakable, of course, but their flesh very much not. Alright, nice work from Alariel's Eagle, and it does look like we still have at least a little bit of ammunition remaining. Got to love those magical arrows from the Sisters of Avalon. Beautiful fireworks as always from them. Always loved watching those units fire, and I like to build it just to watch it fire. Kind of similar to salamanders. They're just so much fun to watch that, you know, build them just for that and nothing else. Anyway, looks like the AI, being an annoying little jerk, but also in a good move, decides to bypass the Treekin despite the fact that about a third of their number did smash into the Treekin. The AI will ignore them and charge directly instead for our Sisters of Avalor. Now, unfortunately for them, Sisters of Avalor are fairly solid hybrid fighters. And it's not going to be so easy for the Bestigors. They realize their mistake and will attempt to book it on out of there, but there isn't really any safe place to run, especially with Brewer giving chase. There we go, sending them flying and right into those Treekin and Dryads. And though they had a momentary distraction, the Sisters of Avalorn and Gateguard are right back into it and firing into the enemy once more. And damn, the enemy certainly had a decent number of troops here, just continuing to attack us. It's almost like we're the ones under siege as we hold ground with the living wall of Treekin. And the enemy assaulting. Well, that's all good. In fact, it's working out pretty well for us. Brewer continuing to fight together with Alariel, up to 612 kills now, damn. And Brewer doing very good work in this particular battle. And it looks like both Centaurs and Ungors have failed that particular run, and the bounce power is at about 85% in our favor now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 healthy units remaining, plus the 2 Lord and Heroes, the Gorbull and Morgar himself. Alright, well, we're going to continue moving out, getting the last of the Dragon Breaths that we had out, just on a unit of Gors, and taking about another third of their HP, but, well, we had to hit something. And the Gors are attempting to back away as they see Brewer and Alariel coming down upon them. And there we go, they land, and they've little hope of doing any significant damage to Brewer here. And are we doing there? Just waiting until the gores are destroyed. The other units are. We got a little bit of action over on this side as well. One of the handmaidens of the Everqueen has run out of ammunition and will join the fray in melee instead. Her spear will sing and the Centigores will go down, and of course as they run, the Sisters of Avalorn will arrow them down in the back. Alright, nice. More Centigores coming in, but I don't imagine this charge will be much more effective. In fact, attempting to charge through the Treekin is probably an even worse proposition. Their charge is broken, and so the Dryads move their way in, and it does look like a few of the enemy Hungors want to play as well. Over in the background, it's finally time for Bruor and Alariel to go directly for Morgar here. It's just him, his Gorbull, as well as this unit of Centigores. Alariel comes down, knocking the Centigores around, and ooh, of course we got Morgar summoning a unit of Chaos Spawn as well. Alright. And that's probably going to be a heck of a lengthy contest. The Morgar generally fairly difficult to kill, and now with the support of those Chaos Spawn, it's probably going to take a while. Alariel will start taking damage here, but we don't need to be particularly concerned, as A, Morgar is taking roughly equivalent damage, and B, it's kind of difficult to out-heal Alariel. Alright, and by the looks of it, our Sisters of Avalorn and our Gateguard have all at last run out of ammunition, or at least these ones have, and have made it forward to fight together with the Dryads. The unity of Forest Spirit and the Elves under the Everqueen. As it should be. Out here, the Chaos Spawn are still fighting, but it looks like Morgar has given up. Alariel, though, has reached her healing cap, and so has Bruhor, but that's just fine. We simply pop a Faw's Protection out of the 20% damage resistance and 40 melee defense, and they're unlikely to take any further damage. And just a matter now of destroying the last remaining Chaos Spawn, and the battle will be ours. The handmaidens of the Everqueen, well, I was about to say, come to her aid. Perhaps a little bit late, but they were dealing with other stuff on the battlefield. And I think with Bruor there to protect Alariel, should she encounter any very strong fighter, they'd be just fine. Plus, the handmaidens are pretty solid in melee as well, just they were needed to command the Sisters of Avalorn. Alright, and there we go. The last of the Chaos Spawn have dropped. This land will be purified as the last of Morgar's hordes are destroyed. Alrighty, there we go. Very nice fight. Tons and tons of damage on the Sisters of Avalorn, and of course the Gateguard no slouches either. The enemy just could not break through our line of Treekin and did barely any damage to them as well. Alariel got 42k damage, solid, and Bruor, Protector of Life, a legendary dragon, showing why it's such a legend. 725 kills, over 100,000 damage on a unit. That's pretty damn strong. I mean, this isn't a caster, it's just a single dragon. And Dragon Breaths plus his sort of area effect, very good. Impressive. I'm gonna have to dedicate this episode to him. Anyway, and with that, we will occupy Montanas just to trade it to Bilbali. We get that missile resistance on Alariel, which is certainly useful. Barda de Thilmar Steed, enemy killed in battle and faction destroyed. There we go with that. Morgar's corruption comes to an end. And oh, I guess it was a tier 5, so we captured it at tier 3, which means at least it'll be worth a fair amount to our friends over in Bilbali. Now, they already have the Marksman School and the barracks here, so I guess we don't need to give them another barracks. Let's give them money building and... Alright, it's a Southern Realm faction, so they won't be... What the heck is this? Is this Chaos Corruption or is this Plague? It's Chaos Corruption. Okay, well, hopefully it'll go down anyway. Now let's give them growth. Well, they probably don't need the growth. Let's do this. I just wanted to give them some buildings so that they can have something to upgrade. Now this, I take it, is all going to be full of Skaven, and we'll have to watch out for them because they'll be Skaven with nukes, which ain't so great for the Dryads, which we can't recruit additional units of. So if they get nuked, we'll lose them for good. It may actually be a decent idea to hide Dryads if we fight the Skaven, at least until they're actually out of their nukes. Anyway, Lariel is done moving. Anybody else need to go this turn? Admiral Kalalian, you are going after islands, so please continue to do so. Like so, approach the carcass. Obviously, I'll resolve that and take the ransom captives in addition to the influence, which is quite nice. We need one more turn of influence and we'll be able to declare, well, not declare war, force factions to fight each other. You're gonna go right here, stay in the Great Ocean rather than the Sea of Serpents, wherein you will heal up. Grab this island and then this island right after. And whatever other islands we can find. Just to double check, you can't heal in this place, can you? You can, but a lot less. But by the looks of it, it doesn't matter. Because that's sufficient, meaning...
Navigating.
Go for the mysterious island right now. And I'm gonna say power of prescience. Variable winds, very nice. Moving further is what we want. Alrighty, so that was Admiral Kalalian, who should be close to the end of, or the edge of the number of units, if I can find her. There she is. Orlan, I don't know who you are. Oh. Alright, okay, you just stay there. Tech Thief, well, keep on Tech Thieving. 100% chance, so go for it. Weird that the AI hasn't taken Schlantzek for themselves, but, well, whatever. Growers obviously don't need to move. They're here until, well, the growing is complete, which is, well, it's working in this place. There will be other places to grow, and I do believe we're ready to go to next turn. Diplomacy we checked. We have cultural advancements coming up as well. Not that it's super relevant. Doesn't really give us anything, to be perfectly honest, but it does unlock other good stuff here. And there is some definitely good stuff in this pile of stuff. A fair bit of good stuff, which we'll get to. Anyway, we'll skip, and I would like to end the turn. Did I forget anything? Oh, right, we were besieging Massif Orcal. Astrakoth Ironhand wants peace. He hasn't actually gotten into a lot of conflict, or direct conflict, I should say, with us as yet. However, he knows what's coming. I mean, we hold a lot of territory, and we're slowly inching our way towards him. And of course, giving back territory that we were... Oh, I'm gonna sally out and fight Tyrion. Giving back territory to the other Order factions. Yeah, we can fight this. I mean, who knows how long it'll be, how many turns it'll be before Tyrion gets another decent fight. And there's Black Orcs and Orc Biggins there. More action for the Silver Helms and such. Yeah, why not? Go.
Sons and daughters of Ulthuan, be ready! Gird your souls! Let them come! To battle!
Alrighty, here we go. I wasn't expecting to fight this battle with Tyrion here, but, well, I'll be happy to do so. Over on the flanks, we Vanguard deployed our Illyrian Reaver Archers, but unfortunately for us, the enemy ranged units, the Forest Goblin Spider Riders, hit us with poison, slowing them down by 20% and allowing the other Forest Goblin Spider Riders to catch them and bring at least a few of them down. Fortunately for us, however, our units of Silver Helms are here to save the day and smash right into that line of Spider Riders and allow the Illyrian Reaver Archers, exalted I should say Illyrian Reaver Archers, to escape while the Spider Riders get obliterated. Alright, of course the enemy will send more Orc Biggins and more Forest Goblin Spider Riders making their way forward, but that's alright. The enemy main line is charging towards us as well, and Tyrion has found the enemy lord. He does have a group of Black Orcs surrounding him and trying to help him out, but I just don't think it's gonna be enough. We're going to pop off Sunfang to dish out a little bit of damage to the enemy, and the enemy lord is down to about 15% of his HP. Tyrion does not care, fighting right in the middle of the pile of Black Orcs, taking effectively no damage and bringing down the enemy lord. Who's trying to use some of the Black Orcs to shield him. Other Black Orcs have made their way forward, but are getting riddled by arrow fire from our units. We've also got more Silver Helms on the left flank to try to protect our flanks rather, and doing so successfully against the enemy Boar Boys. Our mage will cast a Chain Lightning, hitting 2 units of enemy Orc Error Boys here. Prevent them from annoying the rest of our units, while Tyrion, having defeated and killed off the enemy lord, is now going after the Orc Shaman, who's down to half HP and will probably take maybe 2 more hits from Sunfang before going down. Bounce power very rapidly shifting in our favor now. Still a little bit of a contest on the right flank, however, as the Orc Biggins have arrived and are in the midst of a fight against the Silver Helms. We probably don't want the Silver Helms sticking around and fighting directly like this, but this is the sword and board variant, so we're going to use them to keep the enemy, or hold the enemy down for a little while we pop the Curse of the Midnight Wind on the enemy to reduce their effectiveness, and Harmonic Convergence on the Silver Helms to destroy them, or to help destroy them. The other reason for that was to allow the Lancers to sort of loop around the enemy and smash into the back line of those Boar Boys. Boar Boys want nothing to do with any of that and will attempt to run away, but will call for aid from the Forest Goblin Spider Riders. Fortunately for us, though, if they can do that, we can do the same thing, and we got more Silver Helms streaming on through the woods and ready to smash into the back of those Spider Riders, even as they smash into the back of our Lancers. Nice little bit of cavalry play going on the right flank in this particular battle, though by the looks of it, our cavalry numbers are growing and the enemies are dwindling. Well, growing on this side of the map, I should say. Looks like some Biggins are still engaged in the fight. We're going to send the Illyrian Reaver Archers to charge on into melee. Gotta remember that these are the Exalted variants, so they're pretty decent in melee as well. And of course, the absolutely fantastic-looking Regiment of Renown of the Phoenix Guard here, the Keepers of the Flame. I do love their color scheme and their gold armor. Also very elven, just the gold armor, generally speaking. Although I suppose Big E approves, so... Anyway, looks like some Arrow Boys attempted to make their way through the woods, but get absolutely riddled with arrows, and will attempt to flee, but, well, they're just repeating what the rest of the enemy army is doing. The army will shatter, and the battle will be ours. Tyrion got his Lord and Hero defeats, and got a little bit of action for our melee, plenty of action for our cav, and our range, and I'm very happy with the fight. Now we just got to make sure we chase down as much of this enemy army as possible to make sure that we don't have to fight over the Massif Orcal again. Alright, very nice. A very, very fun fight there, and I'm just very glad that they sallied out and gave us that proper fight rather than hiding behind the walls where they would have inevitably been obliterated by spells and by Tyrion as he broke through the gate. We will take the, I guess, heals, just in case there's another army nearby, in case this plague gets transferred to us, which is a distinct possibility. Probably not worth fighting. It's mostly zombies and stuff. Yeah, it does have Vlad in it, but let's face it, this is kind of meh. And we've already fought Vlad with this army, so let us heal up, though we are in our own territory, and that should be just fine. The ambush didn't quite work, but it sort of worked, so I'm still reasonably happy with what happened there. Anyway, looks like Kazrag decided not to attack us, even though we were in march stance near him. A little bit surprising, but okay. So Thara Belkek wants a military alliance. We'll be confederating you in 4 turns, so no. Don't worry about it. We've almost got the whole donut. Libygans outpost construction. Oh, I should have built their outposts. And now that answers that question. Level 11 noble in Tyrion's army. of course, got assassinated by a level 5 big boss, and is going to be wounded now for what, like 8 turns? 4 turns. Wait, no, that's not you. 7 turns. Oh, the number of turns that they get wounded for is really annoying. But I've never been too big on agent spam, assassinating all the enemy agents and vice versa in the first place. So maybe it's just me. But anyway, wounded as a Forbidden Rod, always nice. Lichbone Pennant, always nice. Herald of Methan. Okay, probably gonna get a bunch of these ancillaries. Ooh, Exiles of Nehek mission successful. And oh, wow. Okay, apparently everybody wanted us to fight Vlad. Sure. Oh, right, we fought Vlad with Alistar's army, not that army, but it was still not worth fighting his pile of zombies. Ambush foiled till now, he saw. Herbalist for Wendrina. No, Wendrina, you're gonna have something else. Minstrel Advisor to the King. Enemy hero success chance, but income from buildings. Good on an Architect. Herald of Mathan. I think we have like 1 million of those. Everybody's getting those heralds. Someone receives Plague, Longi. The Old Way. Hello. Construction cost minus 15% for all buildings. Plus materials at sea for 2 more turns. I bet a lot of buildings are going to be free. I don't think we've read this before. A sheaf of elven architectural manuscripts dating from the reign of Caradriel have been discovered by your spies in the old world. Thus, they detail techniques long forgotten, espousing principles so old as to be new again. As a result, building costs have decreased faction-wide. Suavely. Alright. Well, that looks pretty darn good to me. And just to double check, so Kazrak... Oh, he's right here. He raised the moot and then went for the hidden encampment right beside it. Well, a little bit annoying, considering we gave the moot to our allies, and looks like these guys have raised Averheim as well. Would you please hold on to the territory that we give you? Why are you so useless? Oh, what can you do? Anyway, folks, I think with that, we're going to call the episode here. Had lots of nice battles. L'Ariel and Tyrion both came back and did good work as well. We will continue next time with probably attacking the Skaven down here. I'll do the building admin in between the episodes. We've still got a ways to go up here, but I think most of the enemy actual forces have been more or less destroyed, so they shouldn't be a concern up here. And soon we'll just start transferring all the territory to our allies. In fact, that should happen relatively shortly. And of course, we will move deeper into the Empire, going to get a few more armies on the field, send them there as well. Lots of fun stuff to be had. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, as they will determine how long the campaign continues to run for. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.